Peace, YouTube. Welcome to Winning Wednesdays. Today we are in prime time. Today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. My name is Errol C. Mango, and I am just a free colored man. So before we jump in, I always like to start with an audio check, video check. Are we good on the tech? Are we good on the tech? Please drop a confirmation and let me know that we're good on the tech, because I'm not so good with the tech. So we welcome everyone across all three platforms today. We welcome everyone on StreamYard, YouTube, the Black Boss channel, and we welcome everyone on Dr. Boyce Watkins's X channel. All right, so it's been an interesting 2 days in the market so far this week. Today was a slight rebound from yesterday. Yesterday, you might have known the market pulled back a lot yesterday. We're going to talk about that. I've got a few articles I wanted to share. We're going to talk about some articles. Talk a little bit about Bitcoin today. I want to get into some scheduling we got coming up in the Black Business School, as well as a few articles. So that's the game plan for today. So that's the game plan. As you guys come in, let us know where you're from. I'm going to give it 2 more minutes before I jump in. I've got a lot here on my notes I wanted to talk about today. I also wanted to share a couple of YouTube shorts I saw, pretty interesting, from YouTube. This is from Yahoo Finance's YouTube channel. I saw several shorts that I wanted to share, so that's also on the agenda. I'm going to give it 1 more minute, then we'll get right into it. I'm looking at some of the tickers I follow today. All right, so let's talk briefly about what happened today in the market. Okay, today overall was green. Indexes were up slightly. Bitcoin currently at 103. Ethereum 3,300. Just crossed 3,400, so that's where Ethereum is. Let's talk about Netflix. I see Netflix 1,098. NVDA closed at 195 today. Palantir is an interesting one, closed at 187 today. So that's where we are. Some of the tickers I track. All right, so that's where we are. Let's see what I've got on my. Let's start right here. I want to start right here, actually. A lot going on in these financial markets, from crypto to the equities markets to the derivatives markets. A lot going on, a lot to talk about here. Let me share my screen. Let's jump right into it. Share screen. Okay, so here's where I want to start today, and that is the news. All right, let's see. Hopefully you actually let me pick the right screen here. Let me get my settings straight and then share that screen. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, before we continue, just drop a confirmation that you can hear me in the chat. Please drop a confirmation that you can hear me in the chat. I don't want to get too deep into the meeting and realize the volume's all jacked up, or the audios or the videos all jacked up. So please drop a confirmation in the chat that you can hear me. All right, so I just literally went to Google and searched the stock market news. So that's some of the news right there, some of the major headlines earlier today. Dow closes up 200 points after Supreme Court. AMD. Okay, we're going to talk about AMD. I've got AMD in my notes here. What else do we have? Stock market. Okay, so the general consensus on these headlines is stock market rebounded from yesterday. Okay. This is from 1 day ago, CNN. You see that headline: Trump's undeniable stock market victory that no one saw coming. All right. Yahoo Finance, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ slide as tech hit. Oh, that's an article from yesterday on AI valuations fears Bitcoin. Okay, we're going to talk about this headline in particular. Bitcoin drops below 100. I want to talk about that. All right, let's go to more news. Let's see what else we got here. All right, so these are some of the headlines we just talked about. All right, let's go to. Let me go to Yahoo Finance. Let me go to Yahoo Finance's YouTube page. Several interesting shorts I saw. I wanted to discuss some of them. All right, so this one here. Okay, so several shorts here. Let's see where we can start. Let's see where. Okay, let's talk about. Let's see what Trump is saying.
We're making the United States the Bitcoin superpower, the crypto capital of the world, and the undisputed leader in artificial intelligence. We're leading China by a lot. And don't forget, if we don't do the crypto properly, China wants to do it. They're starting it. Crypto was under siege. It's not under siege anymore. It's a big industry, and I have a lot of people that are great people, great business people. They're in other businesses, but they're in crypto too. And it takes a lot of the pressure off the dollar. It does a lot of good things, but we're into it. We're making the United States the Bitcoin superpower.
Trump saying he's making the U.S. the unofficial designated crypto capital. All right. So what do you guys think about that? A very interesting short from earlier today. That's Trump talking about crypto right there. All right, let's see what he's talking about.
Energy prices are down, interest rates are down, despite the fact that we have a total nincompoop at the Federal Reserve. It was recommended by one of my real great people, who I'd never spoke to again. And the cost of the typical new mortgage is down by nearly $3,000 a year. Day by day, we're making America affordable again. It's going to be affordable again at a really record pace. Energy prices are down, interest rates are down, despite the fact that we have a total nincompoop.
Okay, does anyone know what the current interest rate on a 30-year fixed is? What is the interest rate, current interest rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage, conventional loan? Drop it in the chat. What's the current interest rate on a 30-year fixed? Do you guys know what that rate is? Drop it in the chat if you do know what that is. What's the current rate? What's the current interest rate on a 30-year conventional loan? Do you guys know what that is? Do you guys know what that is? What rate is it? What percentage is it? Drop it in the chat if you do know that percentage. Now, in this short, Trump just mentioned interest rates. He mentioned Powell. He mentioned things are getting a little more affordable. I always keep that rate in the back of my mind. I always try to keep up to date with what that interest rate is, what that 30-year interest rate is, assuming you've got good credit, assuming you've got good cash reserves, and assuming you can get a loan, a conventional loan, assuming you can get pre-approved. What do you think that rate is? Does anyone know what that rate is? My guy Ryan Albert says 2%. 2%, right? Ryan Albert says 2%. What is the rate on a 30-year fixed conventional loan? All right, we just heard Trump mention interest rates are being lowered. The Fed did lower the interest rate 2 weeks ago, but it is not 2%. It is not 2%. I wish it was 2%. It's not 2%. During the pandemic, it was 2%. I think it dipped down very low to very close to 2%. It is not 2%. What's the current interest rate on a 30-year fixed loan? Anyone know? It's not 2%. I wish. Ryan, I wish it was 2%. Anyone know? Drop it in the chat if you know. All right, let's see what else we got here on YouTube Shorts. There was a couple other ones I saw earlier here. All right, let me share my screen again. Let's remove that one. My guy, here we go. My guy Edward. So Edward is on the money. Edward is on the money right there. I was thinking about 6.1, 6.2. Yeah, it's Edward is right on the money. 6.2 is what I like. I had that 6.1, 6.2 right in the back of my mind. So salute to Edward. Edward's a sharp guy. All right, so let's go back to you. Let me share my screen here. All right, so there's a couple other ones I want to talk about right quick, and another one was AMD.
We're
Here's the CEO
very
of
excited
AMD.
about our relationship with OpenAI. AMD and OpenAI will work even more closely on future hardware, software, networking, and system-level roadmaps and technologies. We expect this partnership will significantly accelerate our data center AI business, with the potential to generate well over $100 billion in revenue over the next few years. It's a pretty unique time for AI right now. Our AI business is entering a new phase of growth and is on a clear trajectory towards tens of billions in annual revenue in 2027, driven by our leadership rack scale solutions, expanding customer adoption, and an increasing number of large-scale global deployments. We're very...
All right, there's AMD's CEO. You may know last week that AMD reported earnings. I want to discuss their earnings later today. But what I want to do before I forget, let me share this screen. While we were talking about mortgages briefly a minute ago, let me share this screen. Let me ask you this. Where do you guys find your interest rates from? If you want to know what the going rate for a mortgage is, what source do you use? What source do you guys use to find out what the going rate on a 30-year fixed is? I'm gonna show you the main source I used to find that rate. Let's see here. Let me share my screen here. Here's the resource I use. And that resource is Mortgage News Daily. Okay, so if you go to Google and just type in Mortgage News Daily, like I did right there, Mortgage News Daily, we're going to click on Mortgage News Daily, and we're going to see what the going rate is for a 30-year fixed. Okay, so there it is right there. 30-year, 15-year, 30-year jumbo, FHA. Okay, so I think someone just said 6.2. So I was thinking about 6.1, 6.2. So, okay, so actually 6.3, 6.37. So here's one of the leading, if not the leading, resource for what a mortgage rate is. Okay, Mortgage News Daily, 30-year fixed, 15, and the FHA and the VA, 30-year VA. Okay. So there's some free game for you. If not the top resource for mortgage rates, it's up there. Mortgage News Daily. Okay, I don't want to veer too far off from the equities markets, but if you are into real estate, if you're looking to close on real estate, if you're looking to get pre-approved, Mortgage News Daily. Okay, that's your main resource for these different rates. You can see them at the top, in the top here, right? Okay, so 6.37. All right, let's get back to the equities. All right, let me stop sharing that one, and let me get back to let me share my screen here. Let me get back to AMD. All right, that was AMD's CEO just talking a minute ago. All right, let's talk about one more short. Let me see if I can find it. Actually, a couple more. This one's interesting here. You might have read in the recent news that Musk is trying to get a $1 trillion pay package from Tesla. Okay, you might have seen this news earlier this week. Amazon and OpenAI are doing business. You might have seen Palantir's CEO speak after their earnings. Was it yesterday or Monday? You might even seen this headline. This investor, actually, let's start. Michael Burry. I think he was shorting. I think he's shorting NVIDIA.
Michael Burry, the hedge fund manager of the Big Short fame, has two new targets: NVIDIA and Palantir. Burry, who rose to fame for his 2008 bet against the U.S. housing market, bought put options on the companies. That was revealed in a 13F, and that means he would profit from price declines.
Great companies, good companies, but the rate of growth is being valued at perpetuity. So any hiccup in that is going to send these stocks into correction. And we're not talking a 5% correction. When the NASDAQ pulls back, it can drop 20, 30% in a heartbeat. We've seen this before. My partner and I have been around a while. Everybody's selling everything that's non-tech and piling into the AI trade and second derivatives of the AI trade. So they're creating really great risk reward outside of AI. And it's become such a momentum trade in AI. It's very hard to make money at this level. There's systemic risks out there that people are ignoring. And if there's a hiccup in financing in AI, Katie, bar the doors, because these stocks will drop like a heartbeat. So we're just saying identify risk, and for the individual investor, have exposure. But this is a good time to pare it back.
Michael
All right.
Burry, the hedge fund.
That short mentioned Palantir. Let's take a look at Palantir. Let's take a look at Palantir stock. Earlier this week, they did have earnings. So let's see what's going on with Palantir. Let me pull up Palantir and let's take a look at that one. Palantir. All right, so Palantir currently at 187.90. Let me make that screen a little bit. Okay, there you go. 187.90. They had earnings earlier this week. Not too long ago, they were up over 210, I believe. Not too. Let's see here. 209. Back on the 3rd. Back on Monday this week, they're at 209, almost 210. They are currently at 187. Okay, so they did have earnings on, I think it was Monday after close. Very interesting ticker. I've been following Palantir. Okay, last month about a 4%. 6 months. Last 6 months it's been on fire. 51%. Year to date, 150% year to date. Okay, Palantir. Actually, I actually ran an option play on Palantir. I ran two option plays on Palantir recently. So Palantir currently at 187.90. Okay. Now, you also may have heard recently that Palantir is doing business with NVDA. Palantir partnered. Oh, no. Was it Palantir? Let's check the news. Was it NVIDIA or was it OpenAI? Let's see here. Yeah, right there. Let's see. I thought they were doing business. Or was it last week they were doing business with NVIDIA? Was it? Let's see. Let's check the news. I think this one might be old news from last week, though. But anyways, Palantir is doing business with the biggest companies in the world. Okay, interesting company right here, both in terms of long-term hold and in terms of option plays. Okay, currently at 187.90. All right, so I've got a interest in Palantir. I keep an eye on Palantir. Very interesting company. Okay. All right. So that's a couple YouTube shorts I wanted to share. That was AMD. That was Trump talking about interest rates. That was Michael Burry talking about NVIDIA and Palantir, shorting those two stocks. One of those YouTube shorts where Trump was speaking, he had mentioned China by name. So China, of course, is a very interesting international country, a very interesting country to keep an eye on. I also been keeping an eye on this country as well the last couple of years because they've been making moves as well. I want to share this article from CNN Business. This is from I think Sunday or Monday, but China is a country I keep an eye on, and this country right here is another country I keep an eye on. All right, so they're not just sitting around with their feet kicked up. This country is also making moves. All right, and this country is Saudi Arabia. All right, let's see what's going on with Saudi Arabia. All right, let's see here. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is making a massive bet on becoming a global AI powerhouse. Okay, so let's see what CNN Business is saying. Saudi Arabia is turning its oil wealth toward its massive AI ambitions. Its chief investment vehicle is Humane, a homegrown company that is building out a full stack of data centers, cloud capabilities, large language models, and applications. It's owned by the kingdom's nearly $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund. Okay, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman unveiled Humane in May ahead of President Donald Trump's state visit to Riyadh this week at the annual Future Investment Initiative in the same location. The scale, ambition, and deep pockets behind the project came into clear focus. Okay, so actually, this sentence right here, this is a key city I keep an eye on. Okay, Riyadh is the capital city, I believe, of Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is a key country I keep an eye on. Okay, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Their CEO is setting out to make Saudi Arabia the world's third largest AI market. Okay, so there's the sentence right here. This first sentence is a key sentence right here. Their CEO is setting out to make Saudi Arabia the world's third largest AI market after the U.S. and China. Its bold ambition for a newcomer to the industry argues the kingdom's competitive edge lies in its abundant and cheap energy resources that can feed the seemingly insatiable demand for computing power. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is definitely a key global country. We have an advantage in Saudi Arabia. Look at this country's amazing energy grid that doesn't require a company like Humane to build the substations and the power to deliver that to a data center. That means I have saved 18 months of time. Okay, so here's what I was trying to get at. Humane plans to build up to 6 gigawatts in data center capability across the country by 2034. Look who their key partners are. Okay, some of the biggest companies in the world. The biggest company in the world, NVIDIA, Qualcomm's in the top 10 or 12. Amazon's in the top 5 or 6. AMD's in the conversation. Okay, so they're doing business with some of the biggest companies in the world. On Tuesday, Humane announced a $3 billion deal with private equity giant Blackstone. Okay, Blackstone's another major. Blackstone, I believe, is one of the largest hedge funds in the world, or one of the largest asset management companies in the world. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is not partnering with no lightweights. They're partnering with all heavyweights. Okay. All right, let's see here. Humane has been using the AI system internally to run much of its HR, finance, legal, operational, and IT departments. Okay, the kingdom is entering the closing stretch of its Vision 2030 with 2030 economic transformation plan facing headwinds from declining oil prices and delays in its construction of giga projects like NEOM, placing a new urgency on its AI push. Okay, so there's a business lesson in this paragraph right here. Okay, what's the lesson in this? What's this lesson in this paragraph? Is there a business lesson in this paragraph that I highlighted? The kingdom is entering the closing stretch of its Vision 2030 economic transformation plan, facing headwinds from declining oil prices and delays in its construction of giga projects like NEOM, placing new urgency on its AI push to support the growth of the Arab world's largest economy. What's the business lesson? What's the takeaway from this sentence, from this paragraph? Is there a business lesson from that paragraph? My takeaway from this paragraph is if something worked yesterday and it doesn't work today, you need to adjust. If something worked yesterday that doesn't work today, we need to pivot. Okay? We need to make an adjustment. We're taking a lesson from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was known for oil all these decades. Now they're pivoting to AI. Okay? Now they're pivoting to AI. So we can take a business lesson from that. We can implement that lesson into our own businesses. All right, let's see what else we have here. It also faces competition from neighboring UAE, another key global country to keep an eye on. UAE. Okay. It mentions Oracle, OpenAI, NVIDIA, and Cisco. Asked whether there's room for 2 regional heavyweights, Amin said he supports democratizing AI while touting this guy's operations. Okay, so look, the point of this article here, I wanted to bring to everyone's attention. Okay, there is life beyond the United States. Saudi Arabia is making moves. UAE is making moves. China is making moves. We can make moves too, right? We can take lessons from some of these countries, right? We can take business lessons from some of these countries. All right, so that's what's going on with Saudi Arabia. Let me stop sharing that one. All right, so that's Saudi Arabia. They are partnering with some of the world's biggest companies. Okay. All right, so that's what's going on with Saudi Arabia. Okay, so Trump just mentioned China a few minutes ago. We just talked about Saudi Arabia. Keeping on the global mindset, I wanted to discuss this article right here from Business Insider. Okay, so another global asset, one global asset that we discuss regularly is Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin currently is 103,620. On, I believe it was early yesterday, Bitcoin dipped down to 99,000. Okay, so this article is from Business Insider. Let's see what this Business Insider article says. Did you guys buy the dip? Did you guys buy the dip on Bitcoin? Did you even realize it went down to 99,000? All right, so why Bitcoin has dropped into bear market weeks after hitting all-time highs. Okay. Bitcoin entered a technical bear market on Tuesday, down more than 20% from its most recent record high. A historic liquidation and macro jitters are among factors weighing on the world's top crypto. All right, let's see what it goes. The token traded below 100,000 for the first time since June, good for a decline of 21% from its most recent record high of 126.2 hit on October 6th. Okay, today is November 5th. Okay, so less than 1 month ago, we're at 126.20. Okay, today we are at 103,300. Okay, yesterday we were at 99,000. Okay, 99. I don't think it dipped down all the way to 99,000, but it was like 99.8 or 99.9, I believe. It was a month of dashed hopes for the world's largest cryptocurrency as dreamers of Uptober faded, with Bitcoin suffering its first losing October in 7 years. Tuesday's sell-off of over 5% coincided with broader weakness in risk assets. Stocks tumbled on valuation concerns following Palantir's latest earnings and warnings from top bank execs. However, the trouble for Bitcoin has been brewing for weeks, and the market has been dealing with a cocktail of unique headwinds that have put downward pressure on prices. The sentiment index has fallen to 21, the low since April 9th, indicating extreme fear. Last month, entering its territory triggered a rebound, but the market has already fallen below those levels. Okay, weeks of selling have whittled Bitcoin's year-to-date gain down to about 8%, lagging far behind the S&P's gain of 15%. Okay, so this chart just maps out. Okay, so actually this chart is a good chart. Year-to-date, okay, back in January, 95. Back in April, 76. Okay, October, 124, 125. Early October, currently at 103. Okay, 103. Okay, so this is a quick year-to-date performance on BTC. Okay, you can see April 76. April, May, June. June, it's at 111. Okay, from 76 to 111. 2 months later. Mid-June, 100 flat. Looks like about 100, 101. 1 month later, it's at 119, almost 120. Okay, so imagine, actually look at this point right here, June 2025, 101.15. Not too long later, 102. About a month later in July, it's at 119. Okay, so imagine what this, if we projected this chart another month or two forward, another 3 months forward, we're currently at 103, 104. What will this chart look like in December, January, February, March? Okay, if you catch it right here at 103, like approximately right there, will you ride it up to 120? Will you ride it up to 120? Okay, that 103 to 120 alone is a good return. Okay, 103 to 120 is a good return right there. Okay, did you guys buy the dip? Did you guys buy the dip? Did you guys buy yesterday under 100? I had bought some. Okay, let me tell you. Let me give you a brief story of what I did yesterday. Early yesterday morning, I saw BTC at 104. I had bought some at 104. Later in the morning, it had dipped. Then it dipped down to 199. So I caught some at 104. I think I bought a little bit more when it dipped right below 100 or right at 100. I bought a little bit more. Okay, so my plan is just to keep buying. My plan is I got the same plan period after period. My plan really doesn't change. I dollar cost average, and I also mix in some lump sum buys here and there. Okay, so that's what I did the last couple of days with BTC. All right, BTC currently 1033, 1033, 1036. Okay, 1036 now. Okay, so that's what's going on with Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin. Do you guys hold Bitcoin? What's your feeling towards BTC? The latest stretch of volatility has weighed on the market, stemming from trade jitters, a monumental liquidation event, waning bullishness for crypto treasury strategies, and a recalibration of rate cut expectations. Okay, so that last part right there. 2 weeks ago, when the Fed announced their latest cut, they said December's meeting does not guarantee an additional cut. So here are some of the factors pulling down BTC recently. All right, so that's BTC. That's what's going on with BTC. Let me stop sharing that one. Okay. Did you guys buy the dip? Are you guys holding Bitcoin? All right, so that's Bitcoin. I want to talk a little bit about earnings. Okay. First, Super Micro. You might have saw Super Micro. They reported earnings earlier this week. They pulled back a lot since they reported earnings. Let me share my screen here. This article's from Yahoo Finance. I think this is from Monday. Let's see what's going on with Super Micro. Okay. Super Micro stock dropped more than 9% in extended trading Tuesday as the AI server maker reported revenue and earnings for the first quarter of 26 that fell below Wall Street's expectations. All right, let's see what the current price is. Let's see if we can find the current price. 47.40. Okay, SMCI 47.40. Okay, at close today. Let's see here. Okay, so it talks about some of the earnings figures. Tuesday report marked the sixth consecutive quarter that Super Micro's earnings and revenue have fallen short of analyst estimates. Super Micro had already moderated investor expectations ahead of its Q1 results. The company lowered its first quarter revenue outlook in late October to $5 billion from its previous range of $6 to $7 billion. Super Micro designs AI servers equipped with chips from NVIDIA. The company was an early mover in the AI market, which helped fuel its stock to new highs amid the AI boom. Rising competition in AI server market has also raised questions about Super Micro's long-term profitability. The stock was volatile throughout 24. It's up more than 50% this year. Shares fell more than 6% during Tuesday's trading session after hours decline. Okay, that's Super Micro. They reported earnings earlier this week. All right, let me share the earnings the remainder of this week. Let's see what's going on the rest of this week in terms of earnings. AMD reported earlier this week. Palantir earlier this week. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on the rest of this week. Okay, there it goes. HIMS also Monday after close. What else? Yesterday morning, Uber, Shopify, Spotify, Pfizer. Yesterday after close, AMD, Super Micro. Earlier today, McDonald's, IONQ this afternoon, Robinhood this afternoon. Qualcomm, okay, that's a key one right there. Qualcomm earlier today, a few hours ago. Tomorrow morning, nothing major. tomorrow afternoon, nothing major. Archer, maybe. Airbnb. Okay, maybe tomorrow after close, the biggest name is Airbnb. Friday, no real heavyweights Friday. No major names on Friday. Okay, but that's a snapshot of this week's earnings. The major companies, in my opinion: Palantir, AMD, Uber, probably those few. Qualcomm, that's a key one. Qualcomm, Palantir, AMD, maybe. Okay, so that's earnings whispers. I always like these visual earnings. So shout out to earnings whispers. All right, so that's earnings. All right, I want to run through some scheduling right quick before we continue. I want to run through some scheduling. All right, let's see. All right, let me stop sharing that. All right, in terms of some schedule, let's talk some scheduling for a quick minute. 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Tune in to Money in the Morning tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. I've got a feeling it will be a good one tomorrow, and really every day, 10 a.m. Eastern. Dr. Watkins hosts the Money in the Morning or Millionaire Training Camp every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you're unfamiliar with that class, it's a great class. I usually join. I listen in. I have a feeling tomorrow will be a key meeting. So that's tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. What else? November 15th. I mentioned this last week, November 15th and November 16th. That's 2 weekends from now. 2 weekends from now, okay, November 15th and 16th, Saturday and Sunday. I will be hosting a 2-day options training. Okay, I will be hosting a 2-day options training starting on November 15th. Okay, so if you guys are interested in options, consider joining my training on November 15th. We'll go about 3 hours each day. We'll take a break between sessions. We will talk options. Okay, for any of you interested in options, and for any of you that are more advanced with the options, I'm going to cater to I'm going to cater to the beginners and the more advanced traders. Okay, so that's starting on November 15th. I will follow up the 2-day training with a 6-week mastermind. Okay, so the objective of the 6-week mastermind is to deep dive into some of the more advanced option topics. Okay, so that's what I've got coming in the pipeline. November 15th and 16th, I've got a 2-day option training. And then starting December 9th, I've got a 6-week deep dive mastermind option training. Okay, so that's what I've got coming up. I've got coming in partnership with the Black Business School. So, as well as these Wednesday meetings. Okay, so these Wednesday meetings are free for anyone live on YouTube. I alternate going live on the Black Box channel and the Financial Juneteenth channel. Okay, so that's free every Wednesday, usually at noon Eastern, but sometimes we go live in prime time like today. Okay, so that's what I've got coming up in terms of scheduling. All right, that's what I've got coming up in terms of scheduling. Okay, let's see what else. All right, let's see what else here. I did see a article from, I think it was CNN Business, that had discussed economic impacts of the government shutdown. So let me see if I can find that article still. I think the government shutdown is now the longest. Let's see if we can confirm that here. I believe it was from CNN Business today or yesterday. All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, live look at CNN Business. You can see the index, the fear and greed index right here on the top, currently at 24. Extreme fear driving the U.S. market. All right, let's see here. Let's check some of the live headlines on CNN Business. Okay, actually, we just talked about this article on Saudi Arabia. I guess it might have not been CNN Business that headline. But at the top here, in the upper left here, Dow Jones currently at 47,311. S&P currently at 67,96.29. NASDAQ 23, almost 23,500. Okay. All right, so those are some of the live headlines from CNN Business. I would read some of these articles if they're more equities based. Why the Goldman Sachs CEO isn't buying the AI jobs freak out. Let's see here. Berkshire profit rises, cash soars to record. Let's check this one. Berkshire profit rises, cash is sourced to record. Okay, what's the record? Let's see how much cash Buffett is stacking. Berkshire Hathaway signaled on Saturday it remained cautious about markets, letting cash swell to a record. If my eyes don't deceive me, that says 381.7 billion. 387, no, my eyes are deceiving me. 381.7 billion, even as profits rose in its last financial. Okay, hold on. Let's pause right there. Is there a business lesson in this paragraph for us? Is there a lesson here? Is there a lesson? Drop the lesson in the chat if you know the business lesson in this paragraph. What's the lesson in this paragraph? Berkshire Hathaway signaled on Saturday it remained cautious about markets, letting cash swell to a record $381.7 billion, even as profit rose in its last financial report before Warren Buffett bows out as chief executive. Is there a lesson there for us? Someone summarize what the lesson is in that paragraph. Drop it in the chat. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that lesson. Is there a lesson for us? Let us know. Someone drop the lesson in the chat. Let's talk about it. My takeaway from that paragraph is to keep cash on the sidelines just in case. Okay, if you saw the markets pull back yesterday, if you didn't have some cash reserves to the side ready for a pullback to pull the trigger, you missed out on some good entry prices yesterday. So that's my takeaway from that. That's my lesson from that paragraph. Keep some cash reserves on the side just in case the market pulls back. You'll be ready. Okay, I kept some cash on the side. I purposely keep some cash on the side just for days like yesterday. Okay, Bitcoin pulls back to 99. If it pulls back to 95, whatever, I'll be ready. So that's my takeaway from that first paragraph. Between July and September, Buffett's conglomerate also sold more stocks than it bought for its $283.2 billion equity portfolio, whose holdings include Apple and American Express. The 12th straight quarter, it was a net seller. Okay, that's a key point right there. 12th straight quarter, it was a net seller. Okay. Berkshire also repurchased none of its own with the 5th straight quarter without buybacks, though its stock price has significantly lagged the broader market. Okay, actually, let me mention this. Warren Buffett's about to bow out as chief executive of Berkshire, but I want to mention this. I just mentioned one of the option trainings I'm going to have in 2 weekends from now. Let me give you a sneak peek on one of the topics I will discuss. Okay, let me give you a brief sneak peek on one of the option topics I will discuss during that 2-day training. One of the option topics I will discuss is Warren Buffett's option strategy. Okay, so if you're interested in learning about Warren Buffett's option strategy, check me out the weekend of November 15th. Okay, I will discuss Warren Buffett's option strategy for those of you interested in options strategies. Okay, all right, let's continue. Buffett 95 is letting cash build up as he prepares to end his six-decade tenure. I need a 6-decade tenure as chief executive. Okay. So look, Buffett 95 is letting cash build up as he prepares to end his 6-decade tenure. Okay, I need to be a 60-year chief executive. Okay, if Buffett could do it, I could do it. If Buffett could do it, we all could do it. Vice Chair Greg Abel. Okay, he's a young buck. This guy's a young buck. Vice Chairman Greg Abel, only 63, will succeed the legendary investor, though Buffett will remain chairman. Okay, so they're going young. Okay, Abel 63. Okay, 95 to 63. Okay, Abel is known as a more hands-on manager than Buffett. It remains unclear how he might spend Berkshire's cash, which could include paying the Omaha, Nebraska-based conglomerate first dividend $6.67. Berkshire is planning to use its $9.7 billion of cash to buy Occidental Petroleum's OxyChem chemicals business, a transaction announced in early October. Okay. Okay, quarterly net income rose to $30 billion. Actually, $30.8 billion. Okay. Buffett downplays the net results because they include gains and losses on stocks Berkshire is not selling. Okay, is there a business lesson right here? Okay, Berkshire Hathaway, one of the top 15 or 20 companies in the world, they're not selling their stock. They include gains and losses on stocks Berkshire is not selling. Does your portfolio have holdings they will not sell? If one of the top 20 companies in the world is holding on to certain stocks in their portfolio that they're not selling, maybe we can take a lesson from that. There is certain holdings in my portfolio that I will not sell. Okay, so I'm taking a lesson from Buffett directly. Okay, so let's see what else here. Buffett announced on May 3rd he would step down. Okay. Berkshire owns close to 200 businesses that also include utility, renewable operations, chemical, industrial companies, and familiar consumer brands such as Dairy Queen. Okay, I didn't know they owned Dairy Queen and Fruit of the Loom. Okay, so they have holdings in 200 companies. Okay, talk about diversification. There's your diversification right there. Berkshire. Actually, I personally take several lessons from Buffett and Berkshire. Okay, I've kind of mentioned one or two of them in the past. One of them we just talked about. There's certain holdings in my portfolio I will not sell. I'm going to hold forever. That's one of them. Diversification, 200 businesses. Okay, I don't own 200 businesses. Well, actually, technically, I do. I own about 5. If you invest in the S&P, maybe you own 500 businesses. But there's some other lessons I learned from Buffett that I'll reserve for later, including that options discussion. Okay, we'll talk about that when the time comes. Okay, that's a headline from CNN Business. All right, let's stop sharing that. What do you think about Buffett? Okay, what do you think about Buffett? Buffett is arguably the best investor ever. Okay, Buffett is arguably the best investor ever. I'm taking lessons from Buffett. Okay. All right, let me check. I want to check Business Insider to check if they have any interesting headlines on their website. I also check Bloomberg too. Let me check Bloomberg first. All right, Bloomberg. I've got the. All right, here's Business Insider. Okay, let's see. Let me share my screen here. Let's check Business Insider together. Share screen. Business Insider. Okay, let's check what Business Insider has to say. All right. They mentioned an article on Disney on the right-hand side. Sam Altman says he would be ashamed of if OpenAI weren't the first company run by an AI CEO. Sam Altman says he would be ashamed if OpenAI. My question with OpenAI is, when are they going public? I'm wondering when they would go public. When are they going to IPO? Okay, what else do we have here? This year's Coca-Cola holiday ad exposes one of the biggest problems with AI generated video. Let's check this one. What's a problem with AI video? Coca-Cola's holiday trucks are coming, but thanks to AI, they're causing some viewers to double take. This week, the soda giant unveiled 3 ads that will form part of its 2025 holiday campaign. One of the ads, an AI-generated remake of its iconic 1995 Holidays Are Coming spot, has some glitchy inconsistencies. Look closely and you'll see the famous Coca-Cola trucks appear to change shape as they roll through Festive Village. The trucks also appear to gain or lose wheels in each scene. Okay, I'm sure Coca-Cola's working on fixing that. Okay, so they go through some of the examples here. Okay, Coca-Cola, I'm sure, is working on sorting that out. Other viewers also noticed other apparent inconsistencies, including a concerning moment at the 50-second mark where a truck appears to be on a collision course with a crowd of onlookers. Okay, Coca-Cola, what's going on, man? You have no quality control. Y'all gotta QC that before it hits the streets. I really miss pre-AI internet. Coca-Cola's wobbly Christmas trucks. Okay, so let's pause right there. Before we go. Is there a business lesson there? What's the business lesson that we just talked about? QC what you do. QC, review before you hit the market. Check your product or service before it hits the market. Okay? Send it through some basic quality control before it hits the market. Okay, I know oftentimes we want to be first to market and we rush to be first to market, but there's got to be some level of QC involved, okay, as evident with Coca-Cola's AI glitchy commercial. All right, let's see what else. Coca-Cola's wobbly Christmas trucks highlight one of the biggest shortcomings of generative video models. The tech often struggles to maintain the consistency of characters and objects between multiple shots. Many systems generate video on a frame-by-frame basis without maintaining a strong memory of prior scenes. Okay. That's interesting. That makes me think of, when I see this frame-by-frame term, that makes me think back in the 80s, they had those cartoons and they would draw each frame by hand and they would flip through the frame. So it would look live, but it really wasn't live. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is what I was thinking while I was reading that. Although some newer models claim to have solved this problem. Okay, Coca-Cola, man, you got enough cash? You got enough cash to pay for the subscription to these new AI models? Come on now. All right, let's see if this will actually play. Let me see if this will play. Here we go.
Holidays are coming, 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 holidays are coming. 'Tis the season, watch out, look around, something's coming to town, and the odors are something magic in the night. Can you see it shining bright? Always Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. All right. I didn't really notice any of those glitches, but so some viewers got better eyes than my eyes. Okay, are you a shareholder in Coca-Cola? Do you consume Coca-Cola products? From time to time, I may consume a Coca-Cola product. Coca-Cola is part of the S&P, so technically I own some Coca-Cola. All right. Okay, so that's a headline from Business Insider. Coca-Cola, you're on the clock. Get your act together. All right, what else we got here? All right, let's see if there's any more equity-related headlines here. Okay, that's Business Insider. Let's see what's going on with. Let's check Yahoo Finance right quick before we wrap. Let's check Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance is one of my favorites. I've been following Yahoo Finance for a long time now, maybe about 15 years. I've been following Yahoo Finance almost daily. Let's see what's going on with Yahoo Finance. All right, here we go. Let me make this bigger. Okay, here's a live look at Yahoo Finance headlines. S&P, NASDAQ, okay. K-shaped economy. Qualcomm, okay. Qualcomm had earnings. Qualcomm offers upbeat forecast, but big tax charge hits stock. Okay, Qualcomm. Let's see what else we have. Robinhood also reported earnings today. Robinhood earnings top forecast as crypto revenue jumps 300%. Okay, for anyone of you that use Robinhood, okay, this might be relevant to you. Let's see what this article says. Okay, let me make sure the video is paused. All right, Robinhood earnings top forecast as crypto revenue jump 300. Coming in announces CFO transition.
A bit here, about 2.5%. So it looks like Q3 EPS clocks in at 61 cents. I do not see a clean compare there just yet. I'm looking for revenue. There it is, 1.27 billion. Consensus was at 1.21 billion. Adjusted EBITDA for Q3, that looks like a beat, 742 million. Expectations closer to 727 million. By segment, crypto revenue, that came in at 268 million. That's versus consensus of 287.2 million there.
All right, that's some of their earnings metrics. Okay, announced the CFO will be leaving in the first quarter of next year. Let's see what else we have. Robinhood stock was down as much as 2% in after-hours trading immediately following the results. Okay, currently 142. Here's their CEO right here, Vlad Tenev. Shares of the Menlo Park, California-based company have surged nearly 40% since joining the S&P in September. Okay, so last year and some change. They're up 40% and are up 280% year to date. The company has become the S&P's top can't even read. The company has become the S&P's top performer this year. Okay. Robinhood, top performer in the S&P this year. The stock's rally has been fueled by new product launches this year, ranging from tokenized stocks in Europe to prediction market. Okay, this one's a key. I've noticed this on the platform, prediction markets. I noticed the World Series. I noticed the election, college football, all that stuff. And crypto staking, okay? Robinhood aims to grow consumer wallet share. Okay, do you guys use Robinhood? I see a lot of companies copying Robinhood. Okay, there's a business lesson right here. Here's a business lesson right here. If something works, your competitors will copy it. It's just that simple. Offering these additional services, integrating them together in a very nice user experience, and delivering them to the end users. Okay, all right. Analysts pointed to the explosive growth of the platform's prediction markets launched earlier this year. I don't really get into the prediction markets. I leave that alone. The service lets traders wager on the outcome of major events ranging from football games to NVIDIA's earnings results, the length of the government shutdown, and Bitcoin's year-end price target. Yeah, I've seen a lot of different things you can wager on. So those little wagers are adding up. All that revenue is adding up. Crypto revenue is also expected to grow. Okay, so Robinhood's a strong company. They're making moves. Okay, they're making moves. They're innovating. They innovated this year. I'm sure they're going to innovate again next year. Okay, so Robinhood. That's Robinhood. All right, let's see. Let's go back. Robinhood had earnings earlier today. They had earnings. Apple nears deal to pay Google roughly $1 billion a year for Siri AI model. Okay, what's $1 billion amongst mega caps? What's $1 billion amongst friends? What's $1 billion among companies that have done big business with together in the past? Okay, so the CEO of the biggest company in the world, he's warning China will win AI race with US. Okay, that's a headline from Yahoo Finance. App Love and stock rises on earnings beat guidance 3 hours ago. Qualcomm's earnings, okay. Qualcomm's a major company. Okay, do you guys own any of these companies? Qualcomm, NVDA, App Love, and Robinhood. Any of those companies? All right. Today we discussed several things. Okay, we discussed earnings. We discussed AMD. We discussed Qualcomm. We discussed Robinhood. We discussed Bitcoin's recent pullback. We discussed yesterday's. We will discuss what happened yesterday in the market. We discussed a few business lessons we read from those articles. Next Wednesday, we will meet at 12 noon. Okay, so I'm scheduling next Winning Wednesday for noon Eastern. We'll be back at noon Eastern next Wednesday. I hope you got some kind of value out of today's meeting. My name is Errol C. Mangle, and I'm just a free colored man. So thanks for joining. I'll check you guys out next week, Wednesday. Peace.